Hey everyone, it's me Jenny and welcome to my channel. So in this video I'm going to show you how to knit this Raglan sweater for size 3 to 4 years old. So I made this for my son. He's 3.5 years old and I made it slightly bigger for him. So the measurement is around circumference is 24 inches, and from the top right here all the way down is 13.5 inches. Okay, so as you can see, this is with zipper. You can just easily open it. There you go. I normally use the button, but this time I'm trying something new with the zipper. Okay, so as you can see, this is with hood. I'm just going to turn this around, and this is with hood. That's how it looks. I'm going to show you video this hoodie jacket on my son. For this tutorial, I'm going to be using this yarn, Rae Seasons. This is machine washable with wool blend. It is 100 gram and there's 200 meters per skein. It is 76% acrylic, 14% wool and 10% polyamide. Okay, this is the color, and this is a medium weight yarn number 4. So if you don't have this yarn, you can use any medium weight yarn number 4. I really love this yarn. As you can see, it is a chain yarn. Okay, this is how it looks like, and you need 2 skein. If you use this yarn, you need 2 skein of it. Okay, for the knitting needle, this is a Chergu brand. This is the one. Okay, it is 5 millimeter and it is 81 centimeter long or 32 inch. Okay, it has the sharp end, and you need 4 stitch marker and also this 12 inches zipper. Okay, this is the zipper for sweater and jacket, where you can slide it all the way and open at the end right here. Okay, I got mine from Joann craft store. I think it only cost about $4.50 each. Okay, so this is the one. Okay, let's start by making a slip knot. So I'm going to do cast on using the long tail cast on. So I'm going to leave about 30 inches for the ends, so enough yarn for me to cast on. So make a slip knot. Okay, and insert it to the knitting needle. We're going to cast on 43 stitches, and we're going to place the stitch marker while we do the cast on. So this stitch right here count as the first cast on or first stitch. So now we're going to cast on 8 stitches before and then we place the stitch marker. Okay, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, 2, 4, 6, 8. Next we're going to place the stitch marker. So next we're going to cast on the 6th stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, next place the stitch marker. Next we're going to cast on 15 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 14 and 15. Next, place the stitch marker. So next we're going to cast on 6 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2, 4, 6. Okay, place the last stitch marker. So now we're going to cast on 8 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so you should have total of 43 stitches right here. Okay, now let's start with row 1. For row 1 we're going to purl all 43 stitches. Purl all the stitches. 2, 3. Okay, so once you reach the stitch marker, just go ahead and slide the stitch marker to the next needle and continue purling. Okay, so go ahead and finish up row 1, purl all the stitches. Okay, so I'll meet you at the end right here. Okay, so once you're done with row 1, you purled all 43 stitches. So turn the work, and now let's start with row 2. For row 2 we're going to do 8 increases. So we're going to increase into every stitch 1 stitch before the stitch marker. Okay, so let me show you how to do the increase for row 2. So first we're going to knit 7, 1, 2, 3, 7. Okay, so there's 1 stitch before the stitch marker, so we're going to do yarn over and knit 1. So at this side right here before the stitch marker we have total of 9 stitches all together right now, include the yarn over. So now slip the stitch marker. Next we're going to knit 1. Next we're going to do yarn over, okay, and knit 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 1 stitch before the stitch marker. Next we're going to do yarn over and knit 1. Okay, next slip the stitch marker. We're going to knit 1, yarn over. Next we're going to knit 13 stitches, just 1 stitch before the stitch before. Okay, so next we're going to knit 13 stitches. Okay, we're going to stop right here, yarn over and knit 1 just right before the stitch marker. 1, 2, 3, 13. Okay, so we have 1 stitch before the stitch marker. Now we're going to do yarn over, knit 1, next slip the stitch marker, we're going to knit 1, yarn over, we're going to knit 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 1 stitch before the stitch marker, yarn over, knit 1, slip the stitch marker, going to knit 1, yarn over, and we're going to knit the rest of these 7 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so once you're done with row 2, you should have total of 51 stitches. We did 8 increase. Okay, so let's start with row 3. For row 3, we're going to purl every stitches. Okay, first we're going to purl 7, 1, 2, 6, 7. Okay, so this is the yarn over from row 2. So to avoid the hole at the yarn over stitch, we're going to purl at the back stitch right here. Okay, this one, okay, so go ahead and purl the rest of the stitch. So every yarn over stitch, you're going to purl at this back right here. Okay, so go ahead and finish up row 3, purl every stitches, and for the yarn over stitch, purl at the back stitch. Okay, so I'm going to show you one more time. So this is the yarn over stitch. You're going to purl it at the back right here. Okay, go ahead and finish up, and I'll meet you at the end of row 3. Okay, so once you're done purling all 51 stitches at row 3, so this is how it looks like at the right side. So as you can see, the yarn over, there is no hole right there. Okay, so now let's start with row 4. For row 4, we're going to do 8 increases as well, same as row 2. We're going to do the yarn over just 1 stitch after and before the stitch marker. Okay, so let's start. Knit 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so there's 1 stitch before the stitch marker. We're going to do yarn over. So next, going to knit 1, slip the stitch marker. We're going to knit 1. So next, yarn over. Now we're going to knit 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's 1 stitch before the stitch marker. We're going to do yarn over, and then knit 1, slip the stitch marker. We're going to knit 1, next yarn over, and now we're going to knit 15 stitches just right before the last the stitch before the stitch marker. Okay, so knit 15, 1, 2, 3, 14 and 15. Next, yarn over, knit 1, slip the stitch marker. Next, we're going to knit 1, yarn over. Next, we're going to knit 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So one stitch before the stitch marker, we're going to do yarn over. Next, knit 1, slip the stitch marker, knit 1, yarn over, and we're going to knit all 8 stitch. 1, 7, 8. Okay, so done with row 4. For row 4, you should have total of 59 stitches all together, including the yarn over stitch. Okay, so now let's start with row 5. For row 5, we're going to purl all 59 stitches. Okay, so go ahead and finish up row 5, purl every stitches, and the yarn over stitch you're going to purl it at the back from the back loop. Okay, so this is the front and this is the back. You're going to purl it right here. Okay, do the same for every yarn over stitch. Okay, so go ahead and finish up row 5, purl all the stitches, and I'll meet you at the end. Okay, so once you're done with row 5, you purled all 59 stitches. So now let's start with row 6. For row 6, we're going to do 8 increases as well, 1 stitch after and before the stitch marker. Okay, we're going to do increase with using the yarn over stitch. Okay, so let's start. Knit 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Next, yarn over, knit 1, slip the stitch marker, knit 1. Okay, so next, yarn over. Next, we're going to knit 8. 1, 8. Now yarn over, knit 1, slip the stitch marker, knit 1, yarn over. Next, we're going to knit 17 stitches, just 1 stitch before the stitch marker. 1, 2, 3, 16, 17. Okay, so next we're going to do yarn over, knit 1, slip the stitch marker. Next we're going to knit 1, yarn over. Next we're going to knit 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yarn over, knit 1, slip stitch marker, knit 1, yarn over, and we're going to knit the rest of the 9 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 9. Okay, so done with row 6, we made 8 increases. So for row 6 you should have total of 67 stitches. Okay, so now let's start with row 7. For row 7 we're going to purl every stitches, and for the yarn over stitch you're going to purl at the back loop of the stitch. Okay, so go ahead and purl all the stitches, all 67 stitches. Okay, so once you're done with row 7, you purled all 67 stitches. So this is how it looked like from the knit side. Okay, so this is where we did the yarn over and purl at the back loop. So this is how it looks like. Okay, so now let's start with row 8. For row 8 we're going to make 8 increases as well. We're going to do yarn over 1 stitch after and before the stitch marker. Okay, so let's start row 8. We're going to knit 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Next, yarn over, knit 1, slip stitch marker, knit 1. Next, yarn over. Now we're going to knit 10. 1, 2, 9, 10. Next, yarn over, knit 1. I'm going to change the stitch marker. Okay, so next, slip the stitch marker, knit 1, yarn over. So next we're going to knit 19. 1, 2, 3, 17, 18, 19. Next, yarn over, knit 1, slip the stitch marker. Next we're going to knit 1, yarn over. So next, knit 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Next, yarn over, knit 1, slip stitch marker, knit 1, yarn over, and knit the rest of the 10 stitches. 1, 2, 9, 10. Okay, so done with row 8. We made 8 increases right here, 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 and here. So for row 8 you should have total of 75 stitches. Okay, the 75 stitches is including the yarn over stitch. Okay, so now let's start with row 9. For row 9 you're just going to purl every stitches. Okay, same as the previous round before, purl every stitches. And for the yarn over stitch you're going to purl at the back loop. Okay, so go ahead and finish up row 9 and I'll meet you at the end. Okay, so once you're done with row 9, now let's start with row 10. for row 10 we're going to make 8 increases as well. We're going to make yarn over 1 stitch before and after the stitch marker. Okay, so let's start. First let's knit 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Next we're going to do yarn over, knit 1, slip the stitch marker. Next we're going to knit 1, yarn over. So next we're going to knit 12 stitches. 1, 2, 12. So next we're going to do yarn over, knit 1, slip stitch marker. Next knit 1, yarn over. Next we're going to knit 21 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 20, 21. Next yarn over, knit 1, slip the stitch marker, knit 1, yarn over. Next knit 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Next we're going to do yarn over, knit 1, slip the stitch marker, knit 1. Next yarn over. So lastly we're going to knit all 11 stitches. 1, 2, 10, 11. Okay, so once you're done with row 10, we made all 8 increases. You should have total of 83 stitches. Okay, so currently this is how it looks like. So this is going to be the front, this is the sleeve, and this is the back. Okay, so now let's start with row 11. For row 11 we're going to purl every stitches. Okay, purl all 83 stitches, and as usual for the yarn over stitch we're going to purl at the back loop. Okay, so go ahead and finish up row 11 and I'll meet you at the end. Okay, so once you're done with row 11, okay, so far this is how it looks like. Now let's start with row 12. For row 12 we're going to do 8 increases as well. We're going to do yarn over 1 stitch before and after every stitch marker. Okay, so start with knit 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so next we're going to do yarn over, knit 1, and now slip the stitch marker, knit 1, yarn over. Next we're going to knit 14. 1, 2, 13, 14. Next, yarn over, knit 1, slip the stitch marker, knit 1, yarn over. So next we're going to knit 23 stitches, and we're going to stop just one stitch before the stitch marker. 23 stitch. 1, 2, 3, 21, 22, and 23. Okay, so next yarn over, knit 1, slip stitch marker, knit 1, yarn over. Now knit 14, 1, 2, 13, 14. So next we're going to yarn over, knit 1, slip stitch marker, knit 1, yarn over, and next we're going to knit all 12 stitches right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so done with row 12. So next we're going to do row 13. For row 13 you're going to knit all 91 stitches. Okay, so for row 12, once you're done row 12, you should have total of 91 stitches including the yarn over stitch. Okay, so for row 13 we're going to purl every stitches, purl all 91 stitches, and for the yarn over stitch, as usual, you're going to purl it at the back loop of the stitch. Okay, so go ahead and finish up row 13 and I'll meet you at the end. Okay, so once you're done with row 13, you purled all 91 stitches. So far this is how it looks like. This is the front, this is the sleeve, and this is the back. So now let's start with row 14. For row 14 we're going to do 8 increases as well. We're going to make yarn over 1 stitch before and after every stitch marker. Okay, so now let's knit 13, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So next yarn over, knit 1, slip the stitch marker, knit 1, next yarn over. So now we're going to knit 16, 1, 2, 15, 16. So next we're going to yarn over, now knit 1, slip the stitch marker, knit 1, yarn over. So next we're going to knit 25 stitches. Okay, just 1 stitch before the stitch marker. So knit 25 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, Okay, so once you knit up all 25 stitches, next we're going to do yarn over, knit 1, slip stitch marker, knit 1, yarn over. Next we're going to knit 16, 1, 2, 3, 4, 15, 16. Okay, so next we're going to do yarn over, knit 1, slip the stitch marker, knit 1, yarn over, and next we're going to knit 13 stitches. Okay, so once you're done with row 14, you should have total of 99 stitches, include the 8 stitch yarn over. Okay, so next for row 15. For row 15, we're going to purl every stitch, all 99 stitch. Okay, and for the yarn over, you're going to purl into the back loop of the stitch. Okay, so go ahead and finish up row 15 and I'll meet you at the end. Okay, so once you're done with row 15, so far this is how it looks like. Okay, now let's start with row 16. For row 16, we're going to make 8 increases, 1 stitch before and after every stitch marker. Okay, so now start with knit 14 here until here. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, once you knit 14, we're going to do yarn over, knit 1, slip stitch marker, knit 1, yarn over. So next we're going to knit 18 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 17, 18. So next we're going to do yarn over, knit 1, slip stitch marker, knit 1, next yarn over, and now we're going to knit 27. 27. Okay, once you knit all 27 stitches, next you're going to yarn over, knit 1, slip stitch marker, knit 1, yarn over. Next we're going to knit 18 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 17, 18. Okay, so next we're going to yarn over, knit 1, slip stitch, knit 1, yarn over, and next we're going to knit the rest of the stitches, 14 stitches right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, so once we're done with row 16, you should have total of 107 stitches. Okay, this is how it looks like so far. Okay, next for row 17, we're going to purl all 107 stitches. Okay, purl all the stitches, and as usual for the yarn over stitch from row 16, we're going to purl it at the back loop. Okay, so go ahead and finish up row 17 and I'll meet you at the end. Okay, so once you're done with row 17, now let's start with row 18. For row 18, we're going to do 8 increases as well. We're going to do yarn over 1 stitch before and after every stitch marker. Okay, so let's start. We're going to knit 15, 1, 5. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So next we're going to do yarn over, knit 1, slip stitch marker, knit 1, yarn over, and next we're going to knit 20 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 19, 20. Okay, so next we're going to yarn over, knit 1, slip the stitch marker, knit 1. Next we're going to do yarn over. So next we're going to make 29, we're going to knit 29 stitches. Okay, knit 29 stitches. Okay, so once you knit 29 stitches, next we're going to do yarn over, knit 1, slip a stitch marker, knit 1, yarn over. So next we're going to knit 20. 1, 2, 3. 19, 20. Next we're going to do yarn over, knit 1, slip stitch marker, knit 1, yarn over. So next we're going to knit the rest of the stitch. You should have 15 stitches right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, so we're done with row 18. For row 18 you should have total of 115 stitches, 115. Okay, so far this is how it looks like. So next row, row 19, we're going to purl every stitch, purl all 115 stitches, and for the yarn over stitch from row 18 you're going to purl at the back loop. Okay, go ahead and finish up row 19 and I'll meet you at the end. Okay, so once you're done with row 19, you purled all 115 stitches. So now we're going to start row 20. For row 20 we're going to make 8 increases as well. So we're going to knit 16, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 15, 16. So once you knit 16 stitches, next we're going to do yarn over. Next, knit 1, slip the stitch marker, knit 1, yarn over. So next we're going to knit 22 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 21, 22. Okay, so once you knitted all 22 stitches, next we're going to do yarn over, knit 1, slip stitch, knit 1, yarn over. So next we're going to knit 31 stitches. Okay, 31 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 30, 31. Okay, so once you knit the 31 stitches, next we're going to do yarn over, knit 1, slip stitch, knit 1, yarn over. So next we're going to knit 22 stitches. 1, 2, 21, 22. Okay, knit 22 stitches. Next, going to yarn over, knit 1, slip stitch marker, knit 1, yarn over. So next we're going to knit the rest of the stitches, 16 stitches right here. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, so once we're done with row 20, we should have total of 123 stitches, 1 2 3 stitches. Okay, so this is how it looks like so far. This is going to be the front, the sleeve, and the back. Okay, so next we're going to do row 21. Row 21 is going to be purl stitch row. So just going to purl every stitch. Okay, purl every stitch, and for the yarn over stitch from the previous row, row 20, we're going to purl into the back loop only. Okay, just go ahead and finish up row 21 and I'll meet you at the end. Okay, so once you're done with row 21, now we're going to start row 22. For row 22, we're going to make 8 stitch increase, where we're going to do yarn over 1 stitch and 1 stitch before and after every stitch marker. Okay, so let's start row 22. We're going to knit 17, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so once you knit 17 stitches, next yarn over, knit 1, slip stitch, knit 1, yarn over. So next we're going to knit 24 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 23, 24. Okay, so once you need 24 stitches, next we're going to yarn over, knit 1, slip the stitch marker, knit 1, yarn over. Next, going to knit 33 stitches. 2, 3, 4. Okay, so once you knitted all 33 stitches, next we're going to yarn over, knit 1, slip the stitch marker, knit 1, next yarn over. So next we're going to knit 24 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 22, 23, 24. So once you knit at all 24 stitches, next you're going to yarn over, knit 1, slip the stitch marker, knit 1, yarn over, and next we're going to knit the rest of the stitch. (15, 16, and 17). Okay, so done with row 22. For row 22, you should have total of 131 stitches, 131. Okay, so this is how it looks like so far. It increases very quickly. So next we're going to do row 23. For row 23, we're going to purl all the stitches. Okay, purl all 131 stitches, and for the yarn over stitch from row 22, you're going to purl at the back stitch, okay, or the back loop. Okay, so go ahead and finish up row 23 and I'll meet you at the end. Okay, so once you're done with row 23, now let's start with row 24. For row 24, we're going to make 8 increases as well. So first we're going to knit 18, one, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so once you knitted 18 stitches, next we're going to do yarn over, next knit 1, slip the stitch marker, knit 1, yarn over. Next we're going to knit 26 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4. 26. Okay, so once you knitted all 26 stitches, next you're going to yarn over, knit 1, slip the stitch marker, knit 1, yarn over. Next we're going to knit 35 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so once you knitted 35 stitches, next you're going to yarn over, knit 1, slip the stitch marker, knit 1, yarn over. So next we're going to knit 26 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 24, 25. 26. Okay, so once you knit the 26 stitches, next we're going to yarn over, knit 1, slip the stitch marker, knit 1, yarn over, and we're going to knit the rest of the stitches, 18 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Okay, so done with row this is row 24. Okay, for row 24 you should have total of 139 stitches. Okay, so let's start with the next row, row 25. For row 25 we're going to purl all stitches, purl all 139 stitches. Okay, so I'll go ahead and finish up row 25 and I'll meet you at the end. Okay, so once you're done with row 25, so far this is how it looks like. Now let's start with row 26. Row 26 we're going to make 8 increases, 1 stitch before and after the stitch marker. Okay, so knit 19, 1, 18, 19. Okay, once you knitted all 19 stitches, next you're going to yarn over, knit 1, slip the stitch marker, knit 1, yarn over. Next we're going to knit 28 stitches. Okay, just knit until you reach 1 stitch before the stitch marker. 1, 2, 3, 4, 26, 27, 28. Okay, once you knit the 28 stitches, next we're going to yarn over, knit 1, slip stitch marker, knit 1, yarn over. Next we're going to knit 37 stitches. 37 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, 37. Okay, so once you knitted all 37 stitches, next you're going to do yarn over, knit 1, slip the stitch marker, knit 1, yarn over, knit 1. Next we're going to knit 28 stitches. Okay, 28 stitches. So this is 1, 2, 3, 27, 28. Okay, so once you knit 28 stitches, yarn over, knit 1, slip the stitch marker, knit 1, yarn over, and we're going to knit the rest of the stitch, 19 stitches right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Okay, so done with row 26. For row 26 you should have total of 147 stitches, 147. For the next row, row 27, For row 27 we're going to purl all stitches, all 147 stitches. Okay, so as usual for the yarn over stitch from row 26 you're going to purl at the back loop. Okay, so go ahead and finish up row 27 and I'll meet you at the end. Okay, so once you're done with row 27, now let's start with row 28. For row 28 we're going to do 8 increases, 1 stitch before and after every stitch marker. Okay, so we're going to knit 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 19, 20. Okay, so once you knit the 20 stitches, next we're going to do yarn over, knit 1, slip the stitch marker, knit 1, yarn over. Okay, so next we're going to knit 30 stitches. Okay, 30 stitches across, just 1 stitch before the stitch marker. Twenty-seven, 28, 29, 30. Okay, so next we're going to yarn over, knit 1, slip the stitch marker. Next we're going to knit 1, next we're going to yarn over. So next we're going to knit 39 stitches. Just go ahead, knit until you reach 1 stitch before the stitch marker. 38, 38, 39. So next we're going to do yarn over, knit 1 stitch, slip the stitch marker, knit 1. Next we're going to do yarn over. So next we're going to knit 30 stitches, 30. 2, 3, 4, 28, 29, 30. Next we're going to yarn over, knit 1, slip the stitch marker, knit 1, yarn over. So next we're going to knit the rest of the stitch right here, 20 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 18, 19, 20. Okay, so we're done with row 28. For row 28 you should have total of 160 stitches, 160. Okay, so for the next row, for row 29 we're going to purl every stitch, all 160 stitches. Okay, so as usual for the yarn over stitch from the previous round, you're going to knit at the back loop. Okay, go ahead and finish up row 29 and I'll meet you at the end. Okay, so once you're done with row 29, you purled all 160 stitches. So now let's start with row 30. For row 30 we're going to do 8 increases as well, where we're going to do yarn over 1 stitch and 1 stitch before and after every stitch marker. Okay, so let's start. Knit 21, 1, 2, 3, 4, 19, 20, 21. So once you knitted all 21 stitches, next we're going to yarn over, knit 1 stitch, slip the stitch marker, going to knit 1, next yarn over. So next we're going to knit 32 stitches across, just 1 stitch before the stitch marker. Okay, knit 32 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 31, 32. Okay, so once you knitted all 32 stitches, next we're going to yarn over, knit 1, slip the stitch marker, next knit 1, yarn over. Okay, so next we're going to knit 41 stitches, just 1 stitch before the stitch marker. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 39, 40, 41. So next yarn over, knit 1, slip the stitch marker, knit 1, yarn over. So next we're going to knit 32 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 31, 32. Okay, so once you knitted 32 stitches, next yarn over, knit 1, slip the stitch marker, knit 1, yarn over, and next we're going to knit the rest of the stitches, 21 stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Okay, so once you're done with row 30, by the end of row 30 you should have total of 168 stitches. 168. Okay, so for the next row, row 31, we're going to purl every stitch. Okay, we're going to purl all 168 stitches. Okay, so once you're done with row 31, next for row 32 we're going to do 8 more increases, and row 32 is going to be the last row where we're going to do the increase before we separate the body and the sleeve. Okay, so first let's knit 22 stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 20, 21, 22. Okay, so once you knitted 22 stitch, next we're going to yarn over, next knit 1, slip stitch marker, knit 1, yarn over. So next we're going to knit 34 stitches. Okay, knit 34 stitches. 1, 2, 32, 33, 34. Okay, so once you knitted 34 stitches, next we're going to do yarn over, next knit 1, slip the stitch marker, knit 1, yarn over. So next we're going to knit 43 stitches. Okay, 43 stitches across until one stitch before the stitch marker. Okay, so once you knitted all 43 stitches, next you're going to yarn over, knit 1, slip the stitch marker, you're going to knit 1, yarn over. So next we're going to knit 34 stitches. Okay, knit across until you reach one stitch before the stitch marker. Okay, so once you knitted all 34 stitches, next yarn over, knit 1, slip the stitch marker, knit 1, next yarn over. So next we're going to knit the rest of the stitches right here. You should have 22 stitches, so knit 22. 1, 2, 3, 4, 21, 22. Okay, so we're done with row 32. For row 32 you should have total of 176 stitches, 176. Okay, so for the next row, row 33, we're going to purl every stitch. Okay, all 176 stitches. Okay, and as usual for the yarn over stitch from the previous round, you're going to knit into the back loop. Okay, so I'm gonna meet you here once you're done with row 33. Okay, so once you're done with row 33, so far this is how it looks like. Okay, this is the front, this is the sleeve, and this is the back of the jacket. So for the next row, row 34, we're going to separate the sleeve right here. Okay, so before I show you how to separate the sleeve, I want you to grab your needle and scrap yarn, because we're going to hold the stitch at the sleeve while we knit. So if you have a stitch holder, you can use that as well, but I'm just going to use a scrap yarn to hold the stitch. Okay, so let's start row 34. Okay, first we're going to knit 24 stitches from this first stitch until the stitch before the stitch marker. Okay, knit 24. 1, 2, 3. 23, 24. Okay, so once you knitted 24 stitches, remove the stitch marker, and now we're going to pick up the stitch. So grab your needle or your stitch holder, whichever you want to use it. So I'm just going to slide all, you should have total of 38 stitches right here. We're going to slip all 38 stitches on the sleeve. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so once you slip all 38 stitches, now just remove this stitch marker. Just make sure you pull the yarn. Okay, so I'm just going to tie it up right here so it doesn't come off the scrap yarn. Okay, so now we're going to cast on 2 stitches. Going to cast on 2 stitches before we join at the back of this jacket. Okay, 2. I'm just going to do like that. Twist the yarn on your thumb and slide it to the needle. Okay, so that's 1 and that's 2. Okay, after you cast on the 2 stitch, next we're going to knit the rest of the stitch at the back of this jacket. Okay, you should have total of 47 stitches from here all the way at this stitch before the stitch marker. Okay, so we're going to knit all the stitches. Okay, so once you knitted all 47 stitches, remove the stitch marker. So now we're going to do the same for the other sleeve, where we're going to slip all 38 stitches right here. Okay, so once you slip all 38 stitches, remove the stitch marker and we're going to tie a knot right here just to secure all the stitches. Okay, so next we're going to cast on 2 stitches, wrap the yarn around your thumb and slide it to the needle. Okay, so that's 1 and 2. Okay, once you cast on 2 stitch, next we're going to knit the rest of the stitch right here. You should have 24 stitches altogether from here to here. Okay, 3, 4, 23, 24. Okay, so done with row 34. You should have total of 99 stitches all together. Okay, after we slip the sleeve and cast on 2 stitches, you should have total of 99 stitches. Okay, so this is how it looks like once we slip the sleeve off. Okay, so this is the front. This is going to I'm going to show you how to do the sleeve at the second part of this video tutorial, and this is the back. Okay, now we're going to do row 35. For row 35, we're going to purl every stitches. Okay, all 99 stitches. Good morning. Go pee. Okay, so once you reach this 2 stitch, this is the stitch from the previous round where we cast on 2 stitch. Just going to purl the front. Okay. So just continue until you reach the end of row 35. Okay, so so I'll meet you once you're done. Okay, so once you're done with row 35, you purl all 99 stitches. So next, row 36, you're going to knit every stitches. Okay, you're going to knit all 99 stitch. So from now on there will be no more increase, so we're just going to knit up the body. So we're going to knit at the right side, which is the front, and we're going to purl at the wrong side. Okay, so far we've knitted up to 6 inches from row 1 until row 36. We knit up about almost 6 inches. Okay, so from now on you're going to knit until you're going to knit at the right side and purl at the wrong side. So we're going to do the stockinette stitch. You're going to continue until you reach row 77 or until you reach 13 inches in length. Okay, so it depends on your stitch. If you have a very tight stitch, you might go more than 77 row. Okay, so just go ahead and finish up until you reach 13 inches or row 77. Okay, so I'll meet you once you reach 13 inches length. Okay, so once you knit up until you reach 13 inches or total of 77 rows, this is how it looks like. Okay, this is the front. The front is rolled up a little bit right now, but it will be fixed once you put on the zipper. Okay, this should be measured 13 inches. I'm going to measure from the back because it's much easier. Okay, 13 inches. Okay, so for the next 4 row 78, 79, 80 and row 81, 4 rows, we're going to knit all 4 rows. Okay, we're going to do the garter stitch. So for the next 4 rows, we're just going to knit every stitch. Okay, so the last row, row 77 is I finish up at the knit side, the right side. So if your row end at the wrong side, just go ahead and knit another row and make it at the right side. Okay, you might get less or more rows depending on your tension when you knit. If you knit it too tight, you might get more than 77 rows, or if you knit it too loose, you might get less than 77 rows. Okay, that's why I ask you to knit up to 13 inches. Okay, so now I'm going to purl 4 rows, row 70, 78, 79, row 80 and row 81. Okay, so I'll meet you at row 81. You just knit all 4 rows. Okay, so once you're done knit 4 rows, row 78 until row 81, this is how it looks like, the garter stitch. Okay, you should end at the right side of the sweater. So for the last row, row 82, we're going to cast off, and we cast off at the wrong side. Okay, I just like how it looks like when cast off at the wrong side instead of cast off at the right side. Okay, so cast off. First, you're going to knit the first stitch. Knit 1, and then we're going to knit the second stitch. So now we're going to slip the first stitch over the second stitch. So now we're going to knit one. You want to cast off loosely, you don't want to make it too tight. And the first stitch, pull it over to the second stitch. Okay, knit one, first stitch over the second stitch. Okay, so just repeat the same until you reach the last stitch, and I'm going to show you how to finish up row 82. Okay, so just go ahead and cast off, and I'll meet you at the end. Okay, so once you have one stitch left at your left needle, go ahead and do the same. Knit the last stitch and slip the first stitch over to the second stitch. Okay, so now we're done, and all you need to do is cut the yarn. So just cut enough for you to weave in the ends. Okay, so done. Make sure to pull the yarn over to secure all the stitches. Okay, so this is how it looks like if you cast off at the wrong side. Okay, it blends in with the purl stitch. Okay, so next I'm going to show you how to attach the zipper to the sweater. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to attach the zipper to the sweater. So after we knit the 4 rows of garter stitch and cast off, you should have total of 13.5 inches. Okay, 13.5 inches. So the zipper is 12 inches. Okay, from the bottom to the zipper, measure 12 inches. So you have to place the zipper starting right here. Okay, and we're going to sew all the way up here. Okay, so I'm going to hand sew the zipper using a thread. Okay, so I'm going to double my thread so my stitches are strong, but you can use a sewing machine if you do have a sewing machine. For me, that's much more easier. I do have a sewing machine, but I decided not to use the sewing machine because I'm not very good using the sewing machine, so I don't want it to ruin my knitted sweater. So I'm just going to show you how I sew the zipper to the sweater manually. Okay, so I'm done with one side of the zipper. So this is how the back looks like. It is not as neat as sewing machine, but it does the work. Okay, as you can see, I can slide this very easily. That is very important for you to leave a little bit of gap between the zipper and your knit item. Okay, now go ahead and sew up the other side of the zipper, and I'll see you once you're done. Okay, so once you're done with the zipper, this is how it looks like. Okay, as you can see, I sew it up really tight and it is really strong. As I mentioned earlier, it is not as neat as when you use the sewing machine, but it really does it work as long as you hand sew it tightly. Okay, so next I'm going to show you how to knit the sleeve. Okay, so now I'm at my second skein. So one whole skein, I use up one whole skein just for the body. There's a little bit left, but I will use new skein for the sleeves and the hood. Okay, so let's start.